Good day and welcome to the Bet the Jockey show. My name is Josh and I am the conduit of conversation between you, my audience of entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and maybe even wantrepreneurs, people out there in the world who are looking to buy, build, grow, maybe even sell some incredible businesses for yourself. And I'm just that conversationist connection between you guys. I get the pure privilege to go around and talk to incredible entrepreneurs, bring them on the show, ask them actionable advice, listen to their story so we could learn as a community. I want this to happen. I want them to give you hope, inspiration, and education so you too can build incredible businesses. So enough about me. Today on my show, I have Ginzburg. She's a #1 best-selling author, digital marketing expert, and she's on the show to share with you some incredible information about marketing. Jean, welcome to the Bet the Jockey show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited. I listened to your podcast and now have the pleasure of being here on your podcast and talking about my favorite topic, which is digital marketing.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, where in the world are you located right now?
Right now, at the moment, I am in Southern California in Newport Beach.
Okay, right on. And how's the weather out there? How's the atmosphere?
It's pretty good. It's always warm here, so it's probably about 75 degrees outside. A little overcast, but it's not bad. Can't complain. Usually February or March, it's any place in the world could be very, very cold. I lived before I moved here. I lived in Denver, and I lived in Chicago, so I'm very familiar and used to the cold weather. So this is the first winter I've had without a real winter.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, cool. So you are a digital marketing expert. Why don't you talk to us about what does it look like to be a digital marketing expert? Like, obviously you're a marketer, but like talk to us about your business, about what you do.
Absolutely. So I've been doing this for 11 years, and I think the digital marketing space, has only been around for 20 years. So half of the time that it's been around, I've been involved in it. So I started off just doing digital marketing coordinator and working for a couple of companies, and then moved up into the race. And then the last 5 years, so 5 years ago, I founded my own agency and consultancy, and we help clients, entrepreneurs, small to medium-sized businesses. We help them grow their company, grow their sales, their leads using digital marketing strategies. So part of it is a consultancy where I work with these particular clients, like I said, and just help them steer in the right direction, give them ideas, and then their team executes on it. And then we also have an agency where we do the strategy and the execution of all the campaigns as well. So that's
awesome. Right on. How in the world did you get started into your journey? Because you've been doing it for a long time. How did you get started in that world? Because it wasn't very popular, 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, I think I kind of lucked out. I've been doing marketing before that, but just kind of general marketing, not digital. A couple of years before I started in digital marketing. So, and then I was looking for a job, and just happened that I got into digital marketing at that point, and I just totally loved it. Like, I love the technology side of things. I love the interaction with clients. So it's a good combination for me. And then I never looked back. I was like, I sometimes think about it, like on an off day, I might be like, what would I do if I wasn't doing digital marketing? And I still haven't been able to come up with an answer. Sometimes you have these like esoteric questions that you ask yourself. You're like, what would happen if, or what would I do if? That's one of the questions, and I have not been able to. I'm like, I sometimes rack my brain, and I'm like, I have no idea what I would be. I would still probably be doing this.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I'm looking back in your history, on LinkedIn and what you've shared with me. You were doing affiliate marketing. You were a product associate, marketing associate, but then you got into affiliate marketing pretty early on, like in February 2007. Is when you started affiliate marketing, at least what I see. Like, that was when the industry or the economy as a whole was in a pretty rough spot, and you got into affiliate marketing, and you've been doing it for a long time. Talk to us about what it looked like, because the economy was bad, and you're doing affiliate marketing. Like, talk to us about your journey there, because I bet you learned a lot.
I actually did. So that was my first job in marketing, in digital marketing was that job, and that I started in February of 2007. At the time I started, the economy was still not we still didn't know that it was coming. So it was, they were still hiring at that point. And basically throughout that recession period, I worked for that company that I started with, and then I moved to Denver and worked for another company, also in affiliate marketing. So I would say, it affected, of course, a lot of people in terms of the businesses that I was working for at the time. It did, of course, affect us. And one of the companies I was working for was an agency, so we did see some clients leave because, obviously marketing budgets seem to go first when there's a recession. So, and of course, there's some internal things, like there's a hiring freeze and things like, and we didn't get bonuses that year, or promotions and things like that. But I guess that's pretty normal when you're working for a pretty big size company, and the economy goes in the crapper. So, I mean, you live, you learn. I think I've learned definitely some things for the next time there's going to be a recession.
Yeah. Now, for those listening in, entrepreneurs out there, maybe who they're beginners in the marketing world, could you explain what affiliate marketing is for them?
Absolutely. So the affiliate marketing that I was working on, when the companies that you were referring to when I first started off, so I was working for a company called LinkShare, which is now called Rakuten Marketing, and we were working with big brands and helping them set up their affiliate programs and manage their affiliate programs. So, and what affiliate marketing is it's basically referral marketing in a way. So we would work with bloggers and coupon sites. At that time, coupon sites were pretty popular back 11 years ago. And so if their audiences bought, let's say, something on Macy's for $100, then that blogger or that coupon site would get a percentage of the sale. So basically they get rewarded a percentage, a rev share, for driving traffic to Macy's site or Bloomingdale's site or whoever was the brand that we were working with. So that's what affiliate marketing is in general. It's just getting a percentage of the sale because you drove that traffic.
Cool. And as you got started with that affiliate marketing, what was your first role in this world of digital marketing? What was your first role? Could you remember, looking back?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a marketing and communications specialist in working for that company, which is now called Rakuten Affiliate. And it was, I started off, at the bottom, like we all do, and then just worked up through the ranks, and found a couple jobs after that, and became a manager, and then became promoted, and then decided to start my own thing. So yeah, I mean, we all learn, we all start at the bottom.
Yeah. So talk to us about that point where you said, I'm working for other people and a ton of different clients. When did you start to take that leap towards yourself? Talk to us, take us to that point when that became a thought and then when it became a reality.
Sure. So I actually started my entrepreneurial journey 10 years ago. It's going to be 10 years in April. But I would say at that time I had a full-time job, or probably a couple of jobs down the line is when I broke off and started, supporting myself just through my business. But I just always had the entrepreneurial bug. But the first couple of companies that I started, the ventures that I had, they did not work out, which is why I couldn't quit my full-time job. I had to continue on working, as an employee for a couple of companies, and then eventually started my own thing. But going back to the 10 years ago, I just didn't know what I was doing at the time. And I mean, I really wanted to start something on my own, but it just, there's so much to learn being an entrepreneur, and there's so many things that, you go into and you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to make $1 million, and, I'm going to be super excited about it. But then you're like, oh my God, there's so many things that I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know, I don't know what I don't know, at that point. That's how clueless I felt I was. And so the couple of ventures that I started, I, work through them, but they weren't making enough revenue for me to continue. And sometimes you just have to cut your losses and move on. But I mean, the great thing is I learned so much after having a few businesses that failed, right? Because you learn so much. And I didn't want to stop. I was like, yeah, it sucks. I failed second, third time around, but I know that the next time around, after learning so much, I think I'm going to do so much better. And I did.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting when you actually make it. Finally, you're like, I can support myself through my business.
That's awesome. So for the people who are listening, as they're looking to start, their company, maybe they're just overcoming a failure of their own business, or they're afraid of starting because they feel that failure. And they've heard this conversation, a similar conversation, that I've had all these failures, and then I got to the point where now my business could support me and I could break free from the job. So talk to us about the psychology and your mindset, because that's, I think that's an important thing, and you've learned something from that. How did you keep going after those failures? How did you keep pushing through? Give some of your wisdom to us.
Absolutely. And I think mindset now, again, 10 years down the line, 5 years after I've had my business, full time, I'm learning so much about mindset. And at that time, I kind of had the pieces to it, but now I feel that mindset is so important for being an entrepreneur. I have to say, like, if I were to start all over again, that would be probably the first thing I would learn about would be mindset of an entrepreneur. And I think at that time, there wasn't really too much going on, and there weren't too many people talking about it at that time, So it's so important to make sure that you're in the right mindset, because failures will happen to you, and it's not a bad thing. We all think that like failing is a bad thing, but it is actually in some ways such a good thing, because it allows us to learn and take those lessons to our next venture. So I would say, it might suck in the beginning, when you fail for the first time, but the key thing is that you have to, you might, give yourself some time, maybe, but give yourself a month or two or something to kind of gather yourself and let that shock go away. But then the next key point is to get up and go into it again, because if we just fail and we don't move forward with another venture, then all the work we've done and all of the knowledge that we have that could be helping our audiences are just not going to be manifested, because we are we might just be working at a job. So I think it's so important to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and get into the game again.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's great input. Is if there's something in you that you're like, I want to build this myself, and I want to build something for myself, like getting back up again is so important, because like one of the hardest thing to do is just sometimes get back up after a defeat. So it is a mindset, and it is stepping back up to the plate and swinging. So talking about stepping back up to the plate, you had you're getting ready to launch your next venture. Talk to us about that mindset. Talk to us about maybe the things that you were afraid of or not afraid of, or the different attitude that you have. Talk to us, because the next one that you did was a success. Talk to us about right before that happened.
Sure. So I had a full-time job before that happened, and I was just not really happy there, and I felt that I could do a much better job. I was working at an agency at the time, and I felt like I could do a much better job working directly one-on-one with clients versus having an employer kind of be the middleman in that sandwich. So I thought this probably would be a good time for me to move on and start something of my own. And at that point, I probably had 3 businesses that I had before, 3 ventures that didn't work out. So again, at that point leading into it, I feel like I've learned quite a bit, although every day I'm still learning, 11 years down the line. So I found a consulting job for just one client, and I quit my full-time job and I went to consult for this one client, and it started off really well. And I mean, it went well, but then I realized after about 6 months of working for this one client that this is not a feasible strategy, right? Like, if one client leaves, then my business goes under, right? So I was like, this is not going to work. So I need to start looking for more clients to diversify my portfolio, right? So that's how it all began. So the transition was kind of smooth because I was working for an employer, and then I started working for consulting for one client. So it was kind of like almost having like a full-time job because it was just the one client. So that transition it almost was like seamless, right? Because it was just going from an employer to one client, kind of doing very similar things. But then as things started to grow and I started bringing on more clients, then it became a little bit different because it's like now I'm working with several clients or multiple clients. Now I have to hire people to help me with these clients. So it was a slow process for me, but I think I'm thankful for that. And that's just how things are always in my life. It's kind of a slow process, but I learned so much from it, and I'm not like thrown into the fire. So I think I can handle things when they're, when kind of small steps at a time.
Yeah, that's great input. It's like the movie, what is that? What About Bob? Where it's like he's like baby steps, baby steps,
yeah,
baby steps.
Baby steps. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I feel about my business. It's always been baby steps, and I learn about it, and then I go to the next baby step. And yeah, What About Bob? I love that movie.
yeah, it's great. So now you're in this, and you're like, you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, I have a handful of clients. I have team members that I've hired. Like, did you ever like have this like click one day where you're like, I made it? Maybe, I'm not a billionaire or whatever, but like I made it. I became a self-sufficient entrepreneur. Like I could provide for myself. I do the hunting, I kill it, I eat it, and I do like, did you ever have that day where you're just like, I did it, and it felt like you made it?
Sometimes I have those moments, but as entrepreneurs, I think we never feel like we made it. It's like this ongoing, never-ending journey. And sometimes I do feel very successful where I'm like, wow, maybe I signed up a new client, or maybe, I got published in some sort of publication like Forbes or something. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like I never thought 10 years ago that I'd be doing this. So I do have those moments once in a while, but then like every day I'm still thinking, it's never enough. There's always more to be done. There's always more clients to have and bigger, and more revenue to acquire. So I guess that's just the lifestyle of an entrepreneur, right? We never feel like, even if we make $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, it's always like, well, we could be making 20, we could be making $1 billion, right? It's never ending. But then I guess that's how we as entrepreneurs thrive, right? I mean, that's our personalities, is that we want that. We want to continue on reaching and growing.
Yeah, it's definitely it's like the thing that fuels us. It's our fire that, to keep driving, to keep making art, to keep creating, to keep making things better and better.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I have a funny story I was going to mention. I went to the Inc. 5000 conference a few months ago. Are you familiar with the Inc. 5000 conference and the Inc. 5000 list, right? Yep.
But tell everyone about it, what it is, though. Too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the Inc. 5000 list is the list of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the United States. And every year it comes out, you apply for it as a company and you look certain criteria. And then every year there's also a conference honoring those 5,000 companies. And it's like a 3-day conference, and there's like talks and sessions and keynote speakers and things like that. So it's just kind of like a regular business conference. So I went to the conference a few months ago. It was in October, and the guy who founded UGG, I forgot his name, he's this Australian guy. He was like one of the keynote speakers, and he was talking, and one of the questions he asked an audience, and again, this is an audience again of people, of companies who have made several $1 million at least, who have been on the 5,000, Inc. 5,000 list. So these are very successful companies. He asked the question, out of everybody here, who feels like they're successful, like they've made it? And I think maybe 10% of the people raised their hand out of about 5,000 companies that were at the conference. So it just proves to show you that like these companies, Inc. 5,000 list, still don't feel like they've made it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's the thing that keeps us driving forward.
Absolutely.
And I see you're a part of a few different types of organizations focused around entrepreneurs. Like, tell us what groups you're a part of.
Absolutely. So I'm part of YAC, which is a Young Entrepreneurs Council, and I think you interviewed Scott Gerber before in one of your previous podcasts, which I listened to. So he's the founder, one of the founders of YAC, and it's an amazing group. It's all entrepreneurs, and we have a Facebook group where we talk about. It's really active, and I love it. The fact that it's so active. Sometimes you get you become part of a group on Facebook and it's like once, maybe people post like once a month or a couple times a month. Here it's like people post like 10 times a day. So it's absolutely amazing. And it's really good questions. People post questions, people post ideas, people post like, requests for referrals. So it's, anything related to your business. And some are very deep questions, about entrepreneurship. Some are just like, hey, I need a referral for, I'm looking to hire a CMO, so it could be very simple questions. A lot of it could be about processes. So like, I remember just recently I saw a post about, how do you manage all your like documentation within your business? So those are some really great ideas and concepts that maybe that help me along the way. So that's YEC, and then I'm also part of Entrepreneurs Organization, which is an international organization that's been around for like 30, 40 years now, since 1987. And it's more of a local thing. So you have a local chapter and you go to a local meeting. So it's more like a face-to-face type of organization, whereas YEC is more like online and using the Facebook group.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Great organizations. I would highly recommend both of those to anybody who's listening.
You definitely love serving entrepreneurs and working with entrepreneurs. You could definitely tell that by the groups that you're a part of and that you serve with. So now you have your agency and consultancy, and you're a number one, best-selling author. You're featured in Forbes, Huffington Post. You're a thought leader. I mean, you've got a lot going on in your world. Talk to us about like some of the clients that you love working with, and maybe some success stories from some of the cool projects that you worked on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love talking about my clients and their results. So right now I'm working with a client that's an event management company out here in Southern California. And so they put on like 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, half marathons in the area. And when I first started with them as a consultant, they had the digital marketing, some parts of the digital marketing strategy set up, but really, that industry, the event management industry, is very heavy in traditional marketing. So it was great coming in there because I was like, wow, there's so much you can do that you're currently not doing that I think would just uptick your sales and get more registrants for your event. So it was just it's really exciting to see that for me, especially working with industries that are more like traditional marketing heavy and have not kind of made that switch over to you really using digital marketing. Because those are like really big wins right away, right? You implement just a few campaigns, like a retargeting campaign, more email marketing, more Facebook advertising, more engagement on social media, and you're like start seeing the results coming in right away. So that's pretty exciting. I've worked with a skincare company out of Denver, and they're a very, very niche company, for a very kind of specific audience. And when I first started with them, they didn't really have much of a digital marketing program in general. They weren't really utilizing all the strategies that I think for me, it seems like it'd be so easy to like set that up and move forward. But again, people come from different industries, and a lot of these industries have not taken on digital marketing as a program to help them grow their businesses. So again, I grew that business, and we use things like email marketing and using social media and retargeting campaigns and Google AdWords to bring in more customers for the business. So just always love sharing success stories about my clients.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that you're really excited about, the clients that you work with and seeing their success. So you've been doing it for yourself, like being, an internet marketer, for a digital marketer for, your own business and serving a bunch of clients. At what point, because you wrote this book, let me just read the title of the book. And this has been, she's been seen in Forbes and Huffington. So, she's a content creator, ladies and gentlemen. But the name of her book is Win New Customers. So the title is to win new customers, right? Win new customers, how to attract, connect, and convert more prospects into customers in 60 days. She's holding it up for us in 60 days using digital marketing strategies. How did you come up with the title of that book, Win New Customers? What does it mean to win a customer?
And that's what the strategy is all about in the book. But the idea was, we want to win people over. We want to, but not like in a scammy kind of way, but in a nurturing, in a get to know my brand kind of way, in a very safe kind of way. So I was writing the book, and then I had to come up with the title because I had to put it on Amazon, and I was like, what would I call this book? What do I think the content of the book, really talks about? And so that's how I came up with the idea. I was like, well, we want to win more customers for our business, and we want to bring them in and convert them from prospects who are learning about our brand or learning about our mission, and convert them into paying customers who will support our mission. So that's how the idea came out.
Got it. So in the book, you talk about in 60 days, essentially they could transform their digital marketing business. They could start winning customers in 60 days. Like a lot of companies out there, that's their number one problem is acquiring and winning new clients. You say that you could do it in 60 days using these strategies. Kind of like walk us through what could people expect within those 60 days, and how is your book laid out in that plan?
Absolutely, and I do have a 60-day worksheet that's part of the book. So if you download the book, there's actually a link to I think it's an Excel spreadsheet or maybe just a Google Doc that actually lays out like week by week, what are the things that you need to be working on in your business. So I do actually lay that all out in that 60-day time period. But in terms of the book, I can go through it pretty. I don't want to take up too much time because the book is pretty short itself, but I don't want to take up too much time just reading through the book or going through the book, but I can outline it. So I talk about the strategies basically that have worked for my private clients. So everything that I've done in the last 5 years for my private clients, I thought, hey, this would be a really good idea if I take what I know and the strategies that have worked and put them into a book that I can then, disseminate across the people and entrepreneurs who are interested in learning about this and growing their business using these digital marketing strategies. And I meant to keep it short, and I meant to, put it into the book, the only things that I know have worked for me and my clients, and to keep out the things that I feel like might not work. Because one of the main issues that I see with entrepreneurs is like shiny object syndrome. You know what I mean? Like entrepreneurs are like, oh, I'm going to go do HubSpot training, or I'm going to go, do I need to do LinkedIn advertising? And I'm like, we need to focus on what it is that is actually going to drive the business for you. So no shiny object syndrome. Let's focus on what's actually going to bring in the customer. So in the book, I talk about one of the first chapters I talk about is developing a customer profile. And again, one of the main mistakes I see entrepreneurs make is like, they want to get into digital marketing. They're like, yeah, I'm gung ho, I'm ready. I want to do Facebook ads. And I'm like, well, who are you marketing to? So knowing who your market is, what are their problems? What are their challenges? How is your product or service solving that challenge is extremely important. It's like half of the battle. If you don't know who that is, who your ideal target market is, you've lost the battle already. So because all of that will then transcend into your messaging, it will transcend into your brand, and that's how your customers or prospects will get to know you. So developing a customer avatar, and talk about content strategy, very important, because we want to, again, take all those findings we had from the customer profile, put that into our content, into our videos, our blog posts, our articles, our case studies, whatever we want to put across into our content. I talk about Facebook ads because I've used that quite a bit with my clients, and it's really been the paid media platform that I've used. And I talk about nurture funnels, and because once prospects come into your funnel. You want to nurture them over a period of time. You want to get them to know you, like you, trust you, get to know your brand, get to know your vision, so that over a period of time, they're like, oh, this sounds cool. I think I'd like to be, part of this mission. So that's kind of the quick overview of my book.
Yeah, no, that's great. So for entrepreneurs out there listening in and looking at, like, I would love to, start filling up my pipeline. I'd love to start winning over some customers. Like this looks like almost like a step-by-step guide that's, hitting things like, content strategy, Facebook, advertising, landing page, nurturing funnel, retargeting, all the main things that you're hearing and that people are, pushing really hard and saying that you should do this. She built a quick, no fluff guide on how to do that. And better, yet, she's giving this information in this book away for free to this audience here. Is that right?
I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I'm giving it away for free. So there's no reason for you not to take advantage of this. I hope that you guys do it. If you just take one piece away from this book, that would make me so happy, and you can use it in your business. But yeah, I'm giving the book away for free in PDF format. So if you go to ginzburg.com/betthejockey, and we'll put that in the show notes. But yeah, I'm really excited about giving this away for free. So yeah, I hope you guys take advantage of it.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's incredible. So you guys could go get, a free copy of that book at this site, and we'll put this all in the show links. But there's some golden nuggets of wisdom that you've been in the field for a long time. You've been an entrepreneur for a long time. You've had some successes. You've had some failures. You're part of an organization. You got into Inc. 5000. You're part of the YEC, EO, and you're part of these amazing organizations that you have to earn your way in. So, they just don't let anybody in. Like, you have to show them that you've hit certain revenue goals, that you've hit certain milestones. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, like, listening in, fellow jockeys, like, here's a digital marketing expert who made did what she had to do to get into these groups and hit those milestones. So, like, these are really good, tidbits from her and piece of advice. So what I want to do, if you have just a little bit more before we wrap up, like, I would really love for you to give some wisdom to the audience. My daughter, she's 4 years old. One day she's going to be my boss. She already wants to be an entrepreneur. So if you're speaking to, maybe my daughter or other females out there, giving some advice and then just entrepreneurs as a whole, what advice do you have out there for entrepreneurs based on your experience and your expertise?
Sure. Besides my digital marketing advice, which we already talked about, I'll go into more entrepreneurship advice. And one of the things that I've learned over my 10 years as an entrepreneur is never to stop learning. If you read any articles about, Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, they always talk about how they read so much. Some of them say like they read one book a week or something like that. Or Mark Zuckerberg, all of these big, CEOs and founders of these big companies. One of the things they always talk about is that they read a lot. And so I'm a big proponent of always learning, continuing to learn, because we might know things, but when we start learning even more, we realize, wow, we don't even know the half of it. So it's being an entrepreneur is being a lifelong learner, in my opinion. And if we stop learning, then we're not moving forward with being, with our entrepreneurial journey. So I go through podcast episodes, I go through books, I go audiobooks. I love audiobooks. They're absolutely awesome when you're driving in the car. I go through digital info products. So if there's a topic that I want to learn about, if there's a topic I'm not familiar with, I just pick something up and start, diving deep into it. So absolutely, I would say the number one advice is to always continue to learn, because I feel like I still don't, even though I've been doing this for a long time, for 10 years, I still feel like there's so much I don't know that I it's going to continue. It's going to take me the rest of my life to probably learn all of that, and I still won't even know by the time I die. So always continue on reading and going through audiobooks and anything else you could find that will help you to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What's your favorite entrepreneurial book?
I'd say, I don't know if it's really considered an entrepreneurial book, but one of my favorite books kind of related to it is a book by Dale Carnegie called Win New Friends and Influence People, I think it's called, or something along those lines. And it's one of my favorite books. I actually read it like a long time ago, maybe a first time around was probably like 10 or 12 years ago, and totally fell in love with it. And I think it's so applicable to anybody. I mean, entrepreneurs too, but it could be anybody. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. It's just an amazing book that talks about like how to deal with people, how to be just a better, a better self of yourself, a better version of yourself.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, Jean, as we wrap up, that's really good input, really good advice. Really enjoyed having you on the show. I'm really glad that you wrote this. This is really generous of you to give that away for free to our audience. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, she's giving this book away for free. This is something that's become a #1 best-selling book. It's like a step-by-step guide on how to win over customers using digital strategies. So it's a generous offer. It's for free. I just encourage you guys to go to the link in the show notes and download this copy and just start a conversation with her. Jean, where else can people find you, follow you, learn from you?
Absolutely. You can connect with me on social media. I'm pretty active. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can go to Jean Ginzburg, Digital Marketing Expert. Same thing with Facebook. You can find me, Jean Ginzburg, Digital Marketing Expert. I also have a YouTube channel, which is also, if you go to YouTube, just Google my name, Jean Ginzburg, and I have a bunch of free videos that I've been doing this video blog for the last year and a half. And I talk about digital marketing and entrepreneurship. So those are absolutely free for you to view. It's a little show that I called 10 Minutes to Marketing Success. So yeah, absolutely check that out as well. And then the book is gginzburg.com/betthejockey. So hope you guys take advantage of the free book.
Yeah, I do too. I hope people go take a look at it. And I just want to hear the success stories after people go through the book. I want to hear their thoughts, their reviews on it, and I want to hear some major successes like, hey, we did this, and in 60 days or less, like, here are the results. Like, I'd be thrilled if people would share that. What I'll do, Jean, is I'll share this on my LinkedIn, and I just encourage people, if when you read the book, share some of your story, some of the things that you've learned, some of the things that you've really found helpful in the book, and maybe share some victory stories so we could high five you and just cheer you on as you build your entrepreneurial journey. Jean, thanks so much for coming on the show. This has been a blast. I've loved hearing your story, and I love your approach to entrepreneurship, and now you being a part of the leadership organizations and giving back to people. I just want to say thank you from our community, our entrepreneurial community, for what you are doing, and we just really thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely. It's such an amazing pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on, and I hope that your audiences learned a couple things, and I hope this is valuable content. So yeah, thanks again.
Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, fellow jockeys, thanks for tuning in to the Bet the Jockey show. My name is Josh, and I'm just so thrilled that you guys listened in. I hope that you guys build incredible businesses, and that we could all help learn and give hope, inspiration, and education to each other. Thank you for joining in on the Bet the Jockey show, and we'll see you on the next episode. We'll see you guys. Bye, Jean.